For our final project, a couple of guidelines on this video. So we learned a bunch of concepts throughout the quarter: GPIO, inputs and outputs, interrupt routines, different ways of doing that, external, timers, ADC, UART, timing operations, counter, timers, PWMs, watchdogs. We went through mixed signals, ADCs and DACs, the DMA, direct memory access, and we learned how to do that through timers, ADCs and DACs. We also cover digital comms, just UART, and we finally this week we cover real-time operating systems in specific FreeRTOS. Final project ideas. You're going to come up with your own idea. I'm providing here links that you can just use them from different sources, so you can hopefully spark some ideas for you guys. But the directions: number one, you're going to select the project and include at least 4 out of the 7 components learned during the quarter. So we have GPIOs, interrupts, timing, mixed signals, DMA, and digital comms in RTOS. So these are 7 concepts, and your project needs to have at least 4. So as an example here, I have the audio, which is to make DSP process audio. So notice here that I'm applying GPIO, input and output, counts as 1. Mixed signal, because I have ADCs and DACs, counts as 2. And then I'm going to implement the filters using a direct memory access, so that's my 3rd. And I have interrupts, so that the DMA notifies the CPU that the filtering is done, and that's my 4th. So notice that this project covers 4 concepts out of 7. So you do something similar to this. And then you need to provide block diagrams of your project. You don't need to have the sensors or actuators to simulate your project. However, they should be included in your block diagram. Unfortunately, I cannot provide equipment due to the current circumstances, so be creative in the way that you test your system, but don't forget that needs to make sense. As an example, if I was doing the heart rate sensor, I don't have this sensor, so how am I going to emulate these or simulate these? If I have access to a function generator, I could just apply kind of similar signal as this one, but if I don't have these, if I have a button, also does the same job, because I can just implement the bits per minute with a button. So similar to this with your applications. So you'll provide the sensor, all these, but then you say what alternatives you are using during your testing. Provide meaningful comments throughout your code. So comment your code properly so I can understand what's going on. Upload on Canvas a zip or RAR file that contains your source code and a small PPT or Word document that explains your project and includes all relevant and necessary figures, pictures, or block diagrams. It's not required to build a system, but it's required that you write the code and somehow find a way to test it, so pick your project accordingly. The deadline is going to be 1 week to do the project. It's going to be Monday, June 1st, 2020. I have the rubric under File, Lectures, Week 9, and Final Project, so you know how you're going to be graded. We're going to have different projects per student. Every single student needs to have a different project. You need to update me as soon as you can with the name of the project that you'll be doing. You can do this by sending me an email, and I will keep using the forum, and I will post and update the projects here. I'll have a list with the name of the student and the projects. You cannot pick those projects out of that list. So make sure that you check the forum as we go. So try to pick that project as soon as possible so you don't run into problems of picking similar projects. I will not open exceptions. Everyone needs to pick a different project. And I'm going to take points off if you don't notify me which project you are going to do ahead of time. You'll get 50% off, and that means that if I get to Monday and you turn in the final project and I don't know which project you're going to do up to that Monday, this is when I apply the 50% off. So you have until Monday before the deadline to tell me what's going to happen, and again, cannot be a repeated project. I'm enforcing this rule to make sure that everyone is genuinely trying to do their best